All right, this tutorial video is designed to help you go from the standard form of a quadratic equation to the vertex form of a quadratic equation. And if you had watched the previous tutorial video, you'll notice that the equation that I'm ending with, or that I ended with, is the one that I'm starting with in standard form. That way, when I complete the square and get back to here, I can compare them and make sure that I have the same answer. So the previous video, we went from vertex form to standard form, which is a lot easier. But completing the square is section 3.3, so hopefully this video will help you out if you're struggling with that. So the first step I'm going to do with completing the square is group the first two terms together so that I can see them really clearly. So that's 4x squared minus 16x grouped together plus 19. Then I am going to factor out any number that's attached to the x squared value because x squared needs to be on its own. So that happens to be a 4, so I'm going to take the 4 outside of the brackets and I'm left with x squared. And I also need to remove that 4 from the negative 16 since it's inside the brackets. So negative 16 divided by 4 is negative 4, so I still have a negative 4 attached to that x, but that's okay. And I still have the plus 19 hanging out there. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to focus my attention on this term, specifically that negative 4. I'm going to take that negative 4, and I'm going to do a little bit of work over here. I'm going to take that negative 4, and I'm going to divide it by 2, and then I'm going to square it. So negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2, and I'm going to square it. And when you square a negative number, it becomes positive because the square represents negative 2 times negative 2, which is positive 4. I am going to add and subtract that number inside the brackets. And the reason I'm both going to add and subtract it is because I'm essentially doing nothing to the equation. If I add 4 and then I take it away again, it's like adding 0. So I'm going to do 4 on the outside of the brackets, x squared minus 4x plus 4 minus 4, and then outside the brackets plus 19. And you'll see there that if I add 4 and subtract 4, it's just like 0, so it's not doing anything to the equation, but it's going to help me complete the square. So now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this negative 4 outside of the brackets because I don't need it to create my factored version of this polynomial. So I'm going to have a 4 out front. I have x squared minus 4x plus 4, and I want to take the negative 4 outside of the brackets. But if I take it outside of the brackets, I need to remember to multiply by that coefficient. So negative 4 times positive 4 is negative 16, and then I still have the positive 19 hanging out right there. Next, I am going to factor this polynomial, and this number right here actually already helps me do that. So I have 4 multiplied by x, and then subtract 2 times. That is my factored version because I know that negative 2 plus negative 2 is negative 4, and I know negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 is positive 4. So that's my factored version there. I still have the subtract 16 plus 19 hanging out on the outside. If I'm multiplying these two together, it's just like squaring one of the expressions. So I've got 4x subtract 2 squared. And I still got my negative 16, positive 19 on the outside. And my very last step is to put those two numbers together so that I just have one number representing q. So I've got 4x subtract 2 squared, negative 16 plus 19 works out to be positive 3. And that looks like my vertex form of my quadratic. So I went from standard form to vertex form, and in the previous video you'll see we started here and we worked our way to standard form.